All right, this is another really good example of AI and ops kind of overlapping. I know you've kind of seen this before, at least I'm seeing this all the time, of like the way the AI guys are trying to figure out the brain. It's the same kind of binary coins that we're seeing in the ops stuff. So the clips that you're going to see here, it's just going to be the AI guys are trying to figure out vision. You know, they've been trying to figure this out for a long time. And it turns out that you have to have an OI and an OE. And they're basically explaining it down to exactly that without using those exact terms. But they're basically saying, like, we can't tell what all this OE crazy stuff is. Like, when you're driving around, I don't know what this is. We have to have a database of known information that we're comparing it to. And then in the mind, the AI is kind of filling in the gaps. And so it kind of gets into the thoughts of, like, you know, OI and OE, yes. But it's also, like, kind of how you create your own perceptions. Like, based upon what you have loaded in your OI is what you're going to see or not see in the OE. And then that just gets into, like, you know, manifestation and thoughts and how you create your own reality. And that stuff is sounding less and less woo-woo. You know what I'm saying? It's starting to make a lot of sense. All right, so the video here, if you're going to look it up on YouTube, here's the name of it, How AI Learns to See, Quanta Magazine. Now, this guy here, of course, he's an NTP. He's another one of these guys who've been working on AI since forever. Now, his background is that he started to lose his sight, and he started to kind of go kind of blind, right? And so he then had to kind of work with trying to figure out how to get AI to see, and at the same time, he's having a hard time seeing. And it turns out that was one of the unlocks that really kind of helped get some breakthroughs there. He kind of started to realize, he's like, hey, as I'm losing my vision, I still can kind of see because I'm really just largely going off of memory. You know what I mean? Now, I think he is allegedly an ENTP rather than an INTP just because he's like getting into the observations for the observations. He's not scared to his mommy. He's not doing it to make, you know, his friends feel good. So it doesn't seem to be the INTP AI guys. You know, it's either an INTP or ENTP, right? Then you'll get an occasional like NITI thrown in there or whatever. But he seems to be more about the information and cool with people. In fact, my favorite segment of this video, just a short video, was at the very end where he's kind of hanging out with buddies. He's kind of hanging out with friends and the passing it on to the next generation. All right, so watch these clips with that in mind. It's really fascinating.
So the field of computer vision today is undergoing a big shift. We were working really hard for many decades, and we had basically nothing to show for it. The problem turned out to be much deeper and much more exciting than anyone imagined. The vision part of this grand goal of an AI robot was considered to be a summer project. The idea was that if you write a smart enough algorithm, you will teach the computer how to see. Only much later did we realize that what the computer needs is to connect what it's sensing with what it has seen in the past.
Like literally spelling it. Connect what it's sensing with what it's seen in the past. Shanny and I debate this and talk about this, but I am seeing more and more. I do kind of believe that the SE NI functions came first evolutionarily. I feel like it was like this, right? So you have like SE, hold on, you got SE and NI, and then I think in the middle here is SI and NE. I do think the simplest way is just to sense the external environment. Don't try and organize it. Don't try and get patterns from it yet. Just sense the environment and then bring it back to some known information.
One of my superpowers that helped me early on was that my vision is not great. A lot of people I interact with every day don't know that I have poor vision. I'm able to compensate with good visual memory. I just remember a lot of things instead of seeing them. In a sense, my brain fills in a lot of the missing details. And that was very important for me early on to realize the huge importance of large-scale visual data playing in this enterprise of seeing and understanding. That we're not seeing just with our eyes. We are seeing with our eyes and our memory.
Right. I remember a couple of years ago listening to AI stuff, and they were talking about AI with the Tesla, you know, the Tesla driving. This is like early on. I guess this is more than a few years ago. But they're saying, yeah, you know, we're getting it to work. But one of the challenges we have is, this is one of the best examples, is like when a plastic bag will like float across the street. You're like, oh my God, how would you program that? Do you slam on the brakes? Do you drive around it? Do you crash into a bunch of kids at a bus stop? Like, how does the AI supposed to process that? You know, don't hit things that go in front of the car. Like, no, that was a plastic bag. Just run it over, right? And then it makes sense that like there's so many things like that. There's no way, because what they were doing, and this is the next clip, is they were trying to just like label everything. You know, they would just pay some interns, like, here, go label stuff. And they would just put the labels. And it's funny, too, that it's like an ENTP and the labels, you know, just ironically. Like, how much all of your crazy stuff just comes back around in, like, reality. Like, oh, that's just a coincidence, an ENTP and labels. Like, I know, it's so funny. But it makes so much sense that you would have to draw upon a database. You don't know what a paper bag is flying across the street unless you've seen a paper bag flying across the street, right?
So there are two basic paradigms in contemporary computer vision. The older and still most prominent paradigm is supervised learning. It's basically you get a huge amount of images, for example, or videos. And then for every image, some human is going to go and annotate what is on that image. That supervision is often something that can introduce more bias. It comes from the labels. And now you have millions of these labeled images. The neural network is going to try to learn the association between a particular image and the corresponding label, and some of those categories are not very meaningful. What we do in our lab is what we call self-supervised learning. We try to build models that do not require this linguistic supervision, that they can understand the world from the raw data itself, much like animals are able to understand the world. So for example, we can have an image and then make some holes in that image and then have the computer fill in those holes. Or we can try to predict in a video what's going to happen next. You get rid of the labels, and so you can get rid of a lot of the bias that is baked into those labels.
What I'm seeing and where I'm ending up is I'm like, I think AI is actually going to be kind of a good thing overall for humanity. I don't really think it's going to be a doomsday. Of course, that is my initial fears. So my initial fears as an IJ with NI is going to collapse down future possibilities into one thing. So the NEs and normal people are like, look, AI could go a lot of different directions. Sure, it could end the world, but that's very unlikely. It could also do this, this. So they're always staying open to the possibilities and the options. And then every day, every month, they're updating. They're like, oh, I thought I was going to go this way. 6 months later, we realize it's actually going this way. Not saying it won't go back that way. So they're staying in an open state. This last clip here, and you always see this if you look for it, you'll see it in Sam Altman, all the guys, everyone, Bill Gates, they'll all say it. Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, they all say it. All the NTPs, they all say it. They're like, yeah, I'm really just trying to study these computers and the AI because I want to figure out more how the human brain works, because I want to figure out more how relationships work and people work. So this is a classic case of the NTPs are doing all this crazy shit because they're just trying to get to their SF.
Kind of like doing neuroscience on the computer. Hopefully, that might even give us some insights into how biological agents see the world. I think my proudest achievement has been producing the next generation of researchers. I have had absolutely wonderful graduate students and postdocs.
SF.
I feel like this is really my biggest contribution to science.
See, we're all SF in the end.